Microsoft Entra has built-in AI with Security Copilot. In fact, if you are new to the experience or haven't looked at it in a while, you'll find that it is continuously being fine-tuned with skills to accelerate your daily troubleshooting and risk assessments. Which means that whether you are a seasoned admin or just getting started, you don't need deep expertise in filtering, PowerShell, or Graph API. You can just use natural language and have Security Copilot surface the information for you. Additionally, new specialized agents like the one for Conditional Access optimization work with you to continuously look for misaligned policies along with gaps in coverage that could be putting your organization at risk. Today, I'll walk through examples of just how powerful Security Copilot in Microsoft Entra can be, starting with a pretty common challenge: policy coverage and conflicts. Where right now you might try to work through these issues by using filters to identify new users in the Entra audit logs, or by using PowerShell with the Microsoft Grad module, then perhaps you might export log outputs into a spreadsheet for manual analysis, and repeat the same process to identify new enterprise apps, all with the goal of identifying coverage or gaps in policies. It's a manual effort that can take hours from your day. And that's where the Conditional Access Optimization agent comes in. It can be accessed and enabled from the Agents page in the Microsoft Entra Admin Center. From there, the Conditional Access agent works alongside you, proactively surfacing issues and suggestions like gaps in protection, users, or apps that should be added to an existing policy, and policy overlaps. And you can track the status of agent suggestions as you work through them. Clicking into a suggestion gives you the details. For this one about adding users, the user has listed user IDs for the new users. And I can review the user impact of the suggested policy before I apply the changes. You can also dive into the agent's activity to explore its path of analysis and the reasoning behind each suggestion to validate its logic, making sure it's behaving in the way you want it to. Then moving back to the policy details, before you apply any changes, you can review the summary of changes, and even the detailed JSON view if you want a deeper look down to the individual configuration options for the policy. And at the tenant level, if you need to fine-tune the agent's behavior, you can do so in the Agent Settings tab using custom instructions. For example, you can instruct the agent to make exceptions, like excluding break glass admin accounts, which the agent will take into account on its next run. And beyond just giving you suggestions and recommendations, the agent can go a step further and create a fully configured policy if no existing equivalent policy is found. By default, these are report-only policies. And from here, you can even turn it on to enable the policy directly. And from Edit, you can review the policy details. The Conditional Access Optimization agent is great for consistently tracking your policy coverage as users, apps, and access policies evolve over time. Additionally, the specialized Microsoft Entra skills in Security Copilot will also help save you time and even help you add to your existing expertise. For example, let me show you how Security Copilot helps automate the manual steps when investigating and fixing a known compromised user account. Typically, you will need to use signing logs to isolate what they are trying to access, or audit the actions that they have taken with visibility into their signing events, as well as any group memberships giving them access to resources, or examine any current or recently elevated role assignments, which could increase the severity of the compromise. Already, I'm jumping between tabs, and it's time-consuming to collect all of that information to see why they are showing up as risky. Security Copilot, on the other hand, can pull everything together in a fraction of the time. In this case, I know that a user, Michael, has had an account compromise. So I'll ask Copilot if his account was recently flagged as risky, which even if he is low risk now, could be a sign of a persistence attack, where his account is compromised and the attacker is waiting for the right timing. The response from Copilot shows me that he is high risk, with an at-risk stay that started on May 19th. So I'll ask for the risk details for his account. Copilot spots an attempted primary refresh token, or PRT access. Threat intelligence has flagged his account. there are signing attempts from a non-malicious IP address and an anonymized IP address. So the account was definitely compromised. I'll ask Copilot if Michael's authentication methods have changed. And it looks like he added a new phone on May 15th, then update the details again on the 19th. Finally, I'll ask about Michael's account type and whether he has privilege roles assigned. And it looks like he has cloud device and device joint admin permissions. This will let him easily register and modify other managed devices. For example, to have them send file contents or sign-in tokens to other cloud storage locations. So very quickly, I was able to get the visibility I needed to decide what to do next. Now, let's move from risky user accounts to risky apps, which can present a vulnerability. Normally, you would spend a long time digging through app lists just to isolate which apps are even worth worrying about, trying to understand the overall risk to determine what apps are created by my organization or maybe a third party that might require more scrutiny. Who owns the app, or does it no longer have an owner? What protocols are the apps using, and are they risky? And which applications are still or unused that you may want to purge from the list? Investigations like this can take hours. Let's use Copilot for this instead. I'll start by asking it to list some external apps that are not owned by my tenant with verified publisher details for each app. And it pulls together a list of 7 apps with additional details like the app name, app ID, and verified publisher, so I'm not wasting time on low-risk noise. That said, sometimes it's the apps owned by at-risk users that can be the real problem. So I want to ask Copilot, do the risky users in my tenant own any applications? And it finds an app that is owned by a high-risk user. Another potential problem that presents a hidden risk are apps and service principals in your environment that are currently ownerless. I'll ask Copilot, what proportion of apps and service principals are ownerless? And Copilot tells me that more than half, or 55% of my apps are ownerless. And 92% of our service principals are also ownerless. And beyond finding and pointing out problems with my policies and settings, Copilot can even give me detailed recommendations to improve identity posture. In this case, I'll ask, give me recommendations to improve the security posture of at-risk apps in my tenant. Show this as a bulleted list with impacted resources as applications. And Copilot gives me 7 actionable recommendations of policies and configurations to make, including the removal of the unused service principals that I presented earlier, as well as outdated authentication protocols and more. So, with just a few simple prompts, I have achieved something that otherwise might have taken hours in just a few minutes. As you have seen, Security Copilot in Microsoft Entra simplifies troubleshooting and risk assessments with specialized skills and agents. And while I showed you the Conditional Access Optimization agent today, there are many more on the way. To learn more, check out aka.ms/Security Copilot agents in Microsoft Entra. Keep checking back to Microsoft Mechanics for the latest updates, and thanks for watching.